Post is reporting Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered hundreds of the U.S. military's generals and admirals to gather at Marine Corps Base Quantico next week.
It's all speculation right now, aside from the fact that this is a very highly unusual meeting to bring this many generals together, all on relatively short notice.
To use an old term, I think we should maybe start thinking about battleships, by the way. You know, we have a Secretary of the Navy. He came to me because I look at the Iowa out in California, and I look at different ships. And when I look at those ships, they came with the destroyers alongside of them, and man, nothing was going to stop. They were 20 deep, and they were in a straight line, and there was nothing going to stop them. And we actually talk about, you know, those ships. Some people would say, no, that's old technology. I don't know. I don't think it's old technology.
The ship is 70 years old. It's totally outdated.
But it's something we're actually considering, the concept of battleship. Nice 6-inch sides, solid steel, not aluminum.
What the fuck is this?
They were powers. They were big powers. They were just about as mean and scary as you could be. And so we're looking at that. One moved a submarine or two, I won't say about the two, over to the coast of Russia, just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are 2 N-words, and you can't use either of them.
Hell no!
If it does get to use, we have more than anybody else. We have better, we have newer, but it's something we don't ever want to even have to think about. Department of War, we were sitting there, I said, didn't it used to be called the Department of War? How do you think if we changed it back? Would that be a nice idea? Fire department, I always put the fire department in because they're great. They're great, and I got 95% of their vote too, that helps. When you get 95% of their vote, you always have to mention them. But they're great, and they're brave in our inner cities, which we're going to be talking about, because it's a big part of war now. It's a big part of war. But the firemen go up in ladders, and you have people shooting at them while they're up in ladders. I don't even know if anybody heard that, and I said, don't talk about it much, but I think you have to. Our firemen are incredible. They're up in one of these ladders that goes way up to the sky, rescuing people, and you have animals shooting at them. Military legends and lore. That's L-O-R-E. And I'm not a fan of some of the ships you do. I'm a very aesthetic person, and I don't like some of the ships you're doing aesthetically. They say, oh, it's stealth. I said, that's not stealth. An ugly ship is not necessary in order to say you're stealth. By the way, the B-2 bombers were incredible. That is stealth. They went into that. I was fight. There's been no fight. Like what I called the Gulf of America, because to me it was always the Gulf of America. I could never understand. We have 92% of the frontage. They call it the Gulf of Mexico. I said, no, the Gulf of America is the name. You were a dead country, and now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country in the world right now. The absolute hottest country in the world. There's nobody even close. Putin said that to me. We met in Alaska. Had a good meeting. Then he went back and started sending drones into Kiev. I said, I thought we had a good meeting. But it's one of those things. But we were a dead country a year ago. And now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Think of that, beat up. You know what they say? We love the military. You ever see where they interview the people on the street? I've never seen somebody say they don't, unless they're radical and paid off, because a lot of these insurrectionists are paid by, whether it's Soros or other people, but they're paid by the radical left. Well, unless they're playing false tapes, this looked like World War II.
So for whatever reason, there needs to be troops here. You tell me.
Your place is burning down. I mean, you must be kidding. Sir, we have it under control. I said, you don't have it under control, Governor, but I'll check it. The vote that I got from the military, and they're vicious people, you know, that we have to fight, just like you have to fight vicious people. Mine are a different kind of vicious. But they spread all these horrible, they made up statements and said what I said about everything, but even about the military. And they're coming in from Canada, Mexico, from Europe, from all over. AI, auto plants. Everybody's coming back to the United States. I'm okay with that. But they hit me hard. But it is. I mean, when you look at, we've taken in trillions of dollars. We're rich again. And there'll never be, when we finish this out, there'll never be any wealth like what we have. The other day, they had $31 billion that they found, $31 billion. So we found $31 billion, and we're not sure from where it came. A gentleman came in, a financial guy. I said, well, what does that mean? He said, we don't know where it came. I said, check the tariff shelf. No, sir, the tariffs haven't started in that sector yet. I said, yes, they have. They started 7 weeks ago. Check it. Comes back 20 minutes later. Sir, you're right. It came from tariffs. $31 billion.
What the fuck is that? Bruh.